"You need to move to the basement, Hal. Jessica needs the master bedroom." Those words from my daughter-in-law, Jen, hit me like a punch to the gut as I stood in my own kitchen, holding my morning coffee. I'm Harold Stevens, 58 years old, and after 32 years as a police sergeant, I thought I'd heard it all. I was wrong. Let me back up a bit so you understand how I got to this point. 3 years ago, I lost my wife Linda in a line-of-duty accident. She was working dispatch that night when a drunk driver ran a red light and slammed into her patrol car during a routine traffic stop backup. Linda had been my partner in every sense, 28 years on the force, 30 years of marriage, and together we'd built something solid in this community. This house we're talking about, we bought it together back in '95 with our combined police salaries and a VA loan I qualified for from my brief Army stint before joining the force. Every mortgage payment, every repair, every improvement we made to this place, we earned it with honest work, protecting people who mostly never knew our names. Linda used to joke that our house was like our beat. We knew every corner, every weak spot, every place that needed attention. The master bedroom where Jen now wanted to exile me, that's where Linda and I planned our future, where we talked through the tough cases that kept us up at night, where she'd polish my service medals every year before the Veterans Day ceremony. The walk-in closet still had her uniforms hanging next to mine, perfectly pressed, badges gleaming. I couldn't bring myself to pack them away. After Linda passed, the house felt too quiet, too empty. That's when my son Dennis suggested he and Jen move in temporarily. Dennis works IT security for some downtown company, makes decent money, around $65,000 a year, but somehow they could never seem to save enough for their own place. Said they needed just a year, maybe 18 months tops, to get their finances together. That was 2 years ago. Now don't get me wrong, I didn't mind the company at first. Dennis is a good kid, always has been, quiet, thoughtful, maybe a little too eager to avoid confrontation, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. He got that from Linda. She was the diplomat in our family, could talk down an angry drunk better than anyone I knew. Me, I was always more direct. 32 years of police work teaches you that sometimes you need to draw clear lines. Jen was different from the start. She works in HR for some mid-size company, and she talks like every conversation is a performance review, always using corporate speak, always positioning herself as the reasonable one who's just trying to facilitate solutions and optimize outcomes. Even simple family dinners felt like meetings with an agenda she'd prepared in advance, but I tolerated it because Dennis loved her, and because having people in the house meant I didn't have to face the silence every night. Until last Tuesday when everything changed. I was coming back from my morning walk, same route I'd taken for 15 years, down Maple Street to the park where Linda and I used to jog together before our shifts. I keep the routine because structure matters when you're retired. Plus, at my age, you stop moving and everything starts falling apart real quick. When I got back to the house, there was a car in my driveway I didn't recognize. Not parked on the street like a visitor, but right there in my spot next to Dennis's sedan. Inside, I found this young woman with 2 large suitcases and a sob story about losing her job. Jessica Martinez, Jen's little sister, all of 28 years old with the kind of dramatic flair that made my cop instinct start tingling. "It's just temporary, Hal," Jen explained, using that tone she probably practiced in diversity training seminars. Jessica's been going through a really rough patch. Her anxiety makes it hard for her to handle stress, and losing her job was just devastating. She needs a safe space to recover. I looked at Jessica, who was sitting on my couch, looking appropriately devastated, dabbing at her eyes with tissues. Something about the whole performance felt rehearsed. In 32 years of police work, you interview a lot of people, and you develop a sense for when someone's story doesn't quite add up. Too much detail in some places, too vague in others. Jessica's tale of workplace harassment leading to a mental health crisis that cost her the job had all the right elements, but it felt like she'd practiced it. "How long is temporary?" I asked. "Well, that's what we need to discuss," Jen said, shifting into full corporate mode. Jessica's therapist thinks she needs at least 3 months in a stable environment, and honestly, Hal, this house has plenty of space. It's not like you're using all of it. That's when she dropped the basement bomb. Jessica's anxiety apparently required a quiet room, preferably upstairs, away from street noise. The master bedroom was ideal because it had the attached bathroom and the better natural light her therapist recommended. I could move to the basement, which had been finished years ago when Dennis was in high school. It had a small bedroom, a half bath, And even a little kitchenette we'd installed thinking it might be useful someday. It actually makes sense when you think about it logically, Jen continued. You're retired, so you don't need to worry about getting up early for work. The basement is quieter, more private. You'd probably sleep better down there. I waited for Dennis to say something, anything. He was standing by the kitchen window, staring out at the backyard like it contained answers to questions he was too afraid to ask. This was his father being asked to give up the bedroom he'd shared with his mother for 25 years, and he just stood there silent. That silence told me everything I needed to know about what I was really dealing with. See, in police work, you learn to read situations fast. You develop what we called situational awareness, the ability to walk into a room and immediately assess what's really going on versus what people want you to think is going on. The way Jen avoided direct eye contact when talking about Jessica's temporary stay. How Jessica conveniently had an anxiety attack whenever I asked specific questions about her job search. The way they'd both go silent when I walked into a room, my cop instincts were screaming that something wasn't right. But I also knew that accusing family members of lying without evidence was a good way to blow up what was left of my relationship with Dennis. So I did what any good investigator would do. I started building a case. Day 1 after Jessica moved in, I came downstairs for my usual 6 a.m. coffee to find the kitchen completely rearranged. My coffee maker, which had sat in the same spot for 15 years, was now tucked into a corner to make room for Jessica's collection of herbal teas and supplements. Linda's favorite mug, the blue ceramic one with world's best dispatcher that I used every morning, had been moved to the back of the cabinet behind Jessica's organic everything. When I moved it back to its proper place, Jessica appeared in the doorway, wearing pajamas and an expression of wounded innocence. "Oh, I'm sorry, Hal. I was just trying to organize things better. I have dietary restrictions because of my anxiety, and I need easy access to my calming teas." That afternoon, I found Linda's photo on the mantel had been accidentally knocked over while Jessica was dusting. The frame was cracked, and she was so apologetic, so concerned about my feelings, that anyone watching would have thought she was genuinely devastated by the mistake. Day 2 brought the service medals incident. I keep my commendations, and Linda's displayed in a shadow box in the hallway, 32 years of service recognition, including the medal I got for helping to solve the Morrison kidnapping case back in '03. Coming home from the grocery store, I found the entire display knocked over, medals scattered across the hardwood floor. Jessica was in the living room, supposedly doing yoga for her anxiety. "Oh my God, Hal, I'm so sorry." I was carrying my yoga mat upstairs, and I guess I bumped it with my elbow. I didn't realize how close I was walking to the wall. The physics didn't work. The shadow box was mounted 5 feet up, and you'd have to deliberately reach up to knock it down. But Jessica was already on her knees collecting the medals, handling them with the kind of exaggerated care that somehow managed to communicate how fragile and unsteady she was. Day 3 was when things got serious. I found Jen in my home office, sitting at my desk, going through my mail. Not just setting it aside, actually opening envelopes, including my VA disability check. "What are you doing?" I asked, and my voice carried the tone I used to use during interrogations. Jen looked up with that corporate smile that never quite reached her eyes. "I was just trying to help organize the household finances, Hal. With 3 adults living here now, it makes sense to have someone managing the budget and bills. I have experience with financial management from my HR work. This is my personal mail, I know, and I'm sorry if it seems invasive. But Jessica's situation has created some additional expenses, and we want to make sure we're all contributing fairly to household costs." That's when I realized what was really happening here. This wasn't about Jessica's anxiety or temporary housing. This was about money, my money. They were positioning themselves to take control of my finances under the guise of helping. I spent that evening in my home office, door locked, going through everything I could access about Jessica Martinez. See, when you're retired law enforcement, you still have certain databases available for background checks, especially when there's potential fraud involved. What I found made my blood pressure spike. Jessica Martinez wasn't unemployed. She was working full-time as a customer service representative for Consolidated Insurance, had been for 18 months straight. Her LinkedIn profile, which she apparently forgot to make private, showed her celebrating her recent promotion to senior representative. But here's what really got my attention. She was also collecting unemployment benefits. That's fraud, plain and simple. Federal fraud. While she was living rent-free in my house, playing the victim card about losing her job, she was stealing from taxpayers to the tune of about $1,800 a month in benefits she wasn't entitled to receive. but I needed more evidence before I made my move. The next morning, I positioned myself at the coffee shop on Main Street with a clear view of the parking lot across from Jessica's supposed former workplace. Sure enough, at 8:47 a.m., there she was, walking into the Consolidated Insurance building, carrying a travel coffee mug, and looking very much like someone heading to work. I took photos, time-stamped, location-tagged photos that would hold up in court. That afternoon, while Jessica was supposedly at therapy and Jen was at her actual job, I called my old partner, Luis Rodriguez. Luis made detective 5 years before I retired and now runs the fraud investigation unit for the county. Hal, good to hear from you. How's retirement treating you? Could be better, Luis. I need to run something by you off the record for now. I explained the situation, Jessica's false unemployment claims, her living arrangement in my house, the whole setup that was starting to look like a coordinated effort to establish residency and possibly make a play for elder financial abuse. Luis whistled low. That's a serious pattern, Hal. Unemployment fraud alone is a felony if it's over $1,000, and you're talking about months of false claims. If she's setting up for financial exploitation of an elderly person, that bumps it up to aggravated fraud. I'm not elderly, I protested. You're 58 and retired. In the eyes of the law, you qualify for elder protection statutes. Plus, your service record gives you veteran status, which adds another layer of legal protection. That evening, I sat in my study looking at everything I'd gathered, photos of Jessica at work, printouts of her employment history, screenshots of her unemployment benefit claims, a timeline of incidents in my house that suggested systematic harassment designed to make me want to leave. The picture was clear. This wasn't about helping family in need. This was a con job, and I was the mark. But before I could figure out my next move, Jessica escalated things herself. I came home from a visit to the VA clinic on Thursday to find my bedroom door open and Jessica inside, going through Linda's jewelry box. Not just looking, actually trying on Linda's engagement ring. What the hell are you doing? The words came out harder than I intended, carrying 32 years of authority that made Jessica jump like she'd been shocked. Oh, Hal, you scared me. I was just. Jen asked me to help organize things, and she thought maybe some of Linda's jewelry should be put somewhere safer. This ring is so beautiful, I was just admiring it. The lie came so smoothly that I knew she'd planned this moment. Put it back, of course, I was just, put it back now and get out of my room. Jessica's face shifted through several emotions. Surprise, hurt, defiance, and then calculated tears. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to upset you. I know this must be hard with her things still here. Maybe it would be healthier if get out. She left, but not before I saw her glance around the room like she was cataloging everything for future reference. That night, I installed a lock on my bedroom door. Friday morning brought the confrontation I'd been dreading. I was making coffee when Jen appeared in the kitchen, fully dressed for work, but clearly planning to be late. Dennis was there too, which told me this was coordinated. Hal? We need to talk about your behavior toward Jessica. I poured my coffee slowly, buying time to control my temper. What about it? You're being hostile and unwelcoming. She's going through a mental health crisis, and instead of showing compassion, you're treating her like some kind of criminal. Funny you should use that word. Dennis shifted uncomfortably. Dad, please. We're trying to help family here, are we? Because I've been doing some research, and Jessica's employment status is interesting. Jen's corporate mask slipped just slightly. What do you mean? I mean she's been working full-time at Consolidated Insurance for 18 months while collecting unemployment benefits. That's federal fraud. The kitchen went dead silent. Jessica appeared in the doorway like she'd been listening from the hallway, which she probably had been. That's not true, Jessica said, but her voice lacked conviction. I don't know where you got that information, but I got it from watching you walk into their building every morning this week. I got it from their HR department, who confirmed your employment when I called asking about insurance coverage for a family member. I got it from the state unemployment office, who has a very interesting file on your benefit claims. Dennis looked sick. Dad, even if that's true, we can work this out as a family. No, son, we can't. Because this isn't about family helping family. This is about fraud. And it's happening in my house, under my roof. I pulled out my phone and showed them the photos I'd taken of Jessica going to work. Time-stamped, location tagged, clear as day. Here's what's going to happen, I continued, using the voice I'd perfected during 32 years of dealing with suspects who thought they could talk their way out of consequences. Jessica is going to pack her things and leave today. She's going to contact the unemployment office and arrange to pay back every penny she's stolen. And if she's not out of my house by 6 p.m., I'm calling Detective Rodriguez and filing formal fraud charges. Jessica's anxiety act collapsed completely. You can't prove anything. Those photos don't prove I was working, just that I was in the building. Want to bet your freedom on that? That's when Jen made her biggest mistake. Instead of backing down, she doubled down with corporate HR tactics. Hal, you're being unreasonable and possibly discriminatory. Jessica has documented mental health issues, and throwing her out could be considered elder abuse of a vulnerable person. We could file a complaint with Adult Protective Services. I looked at my daughter-in-law for a long moment, really seeing her for the first time. This wasn't panic or desperation. This was calculation. She'd researched elder abuse laws, probably planning to use them against me if I didn't cooperate with their scheme. Elder abuse? I repeated. I'm 58 years old, Jen. I'm a retired police sergeant. I own this house outright. The only vulnerable person here is the one who's been committing fraud while living rent-free under my roof. We live here too, Dennis said quietly. We have rights. Those words hit me harder than anything else that had happened. My own son standing in the kitchen of the house I'd earned with blood, sweat, and 32 years of service, telling me he had rights to throw me out of my own bedroom. Rights? I repeated. What rights are those exactly? The right to let your wife's sister commit fraud in my house. The right to open my mail. The right to decide where I sleep in my own home. I walked to my home office and came back with a folder I'd prepared the night before. Inside were documents I hoped I'd never have to use against my own family. Dennis, you borrowed $40,000 from me 3 years ago for a down payment on your car. You signed a promissory note agreeing to pay me back $1,000 a month starting the following month. How many payments have you made? Dennis went white. Dad, I've been meaning to. How many payments? None. But I've been planning to start. 3 years, son. 3 years of broken promises. That's $36,000 in missed payments, plus the original $40,000, plus interest. Total of $47,680 that you owe me. I spread the documents on the kitchen table. The original promissory note Dennis had signed email chains where he promised to start payments next month for the past 3 years. Bank statements showing the original loan and 0 repayments. So here's where we stand. Jessica leaves today or faces federal fraud charges. You and Jen find your own place within 30 days, and you start making payments on your loan immediately, or I file suit for the full amount. Jen's corporate composure finally cracked. You can't be serious. We're family. Family doesn't steal from each other. Family doesn't try to exile the man who earned this house through 32 years of service. Family doesn't open federal mail or attempt financial elder abuse. I looked at each of them in turn. You have until 6 p.m. to decide if you want to handle this quietly or if you want me to make some phone calls. They chose to test me. At 5:30 p.m., Jessica was still in the guest room and Jen was on the phone with some lawyer she'd found online. I could hear her through the thin walls talking about hostile living environments and elderly financial abuse. The irony wasn't lost on me. The people committing fraud were trying to accuse me of elder abuse. At exactly 6:01 p.m., I called Detective Rodriguez. Luis, it's Hal. I need to file formal charges. I was wondering if you were going to follow through. What do you have? Unemployment, fraud, mail tampering, attempted financial exploitation, and trespassing after refusal to leave. I'll be there in 20 minutes with the paperwork. The next few hours were like something from my old working days, except I was the complainant instead of the investigating officer. Louise documented everything with the thoroughness that made him a good detective. Photos of Jessica's belongings still in my guest room past the deadline. Copies of her fraudulent unemployment claims, the evidence of her actual employment, pictures of my opened mail. By 9 p.m., Jessica was in handcuffs being read her rights. Jen kept insisting this was all a misunderstanding, that family disputes shouldn't involve law enforcement. Dennis just sat on the couch looking like his world was falling apart. Dad, please, he said as Luis was finishing the paperwork. Can't we work this out without destroying the family? I looked at my son, really looked at him. When had he become so willing to compromise with people who were taking advantage of us? When had he decided that keeping peace was more important than doing what's right? Dennis, the family was destroyed the moment your wife tried to make me a stranger in my own house. Everything since then has just been consequences. The next morning, I drove to Rebecca Turner's law office downtown. Rebecca had handled police union legal issues for years before going into private practice, and I trusted her to do things by the book. Harold, I've reviewed everything you brought me. The eviction notice is straightforward. They're guests who've overstayed their welcome. The loan collection is even simpler. Your son signed a promissory note and hasn't made a single payment in 3 years. How long will this take? 30 days for the eviction if they don't contest it. 6 weeks for the loan judgment if they fight it. But honestly, with documentation this solid, their lawyer will probably advise them to settle. She was right. 2 weeks later, Dennis and Jen's attorney called to arrange a settlement conference. They couldn't afford to fight a case where the evidence was overwhelming, and Dennis's employer had already started asking questions about his judgment after the fraud charges involving his household became public knowledge. The settlement was simple. Dennis would pay $1,800 per month for 24 months to satisfy the $43,200 total debt. Jen and Dennis would vacate my house within 30 days. Jessica would plead guilty to unemployment fraud and pay full restitution. The morning they moved out, Dennis tried one last conversation. He found me in the garage, organizing tools that hadn't been touched since Linda died. "Dad, I know I screwed up. I should have stood up to Jen from the beginning." "You should have stood up for your father. There's a difference. Is there any way we can repair this? Any way back?" I put down the wrench I was holding and really looked at him, my son, 35 years old, finally understanding that choices have consequences. "Dennis, you let your wife attempt to defraud a retired police officer in his own house. You watched her try to take control of my finances. You stayed silent when she demanded I give up the bedroom I shared with your mother. Those aren't mistakes, they're character decisions. I was trying to keep the peace. Peace at whose expense? Mine, your mother's memory, your own integrity." He left without another word. 6 months later, I'm sitting in my recliner, Linda's photo back in its proper place on the mantel, my service medals properly displayed in the hallway. The house is quiet again, but it's the right kind of quiet. Peaceful, not lonely. Dennis makes his payments every month, direct deposit, always on time. We don't speak, but the money arrives like clockwork, minus $800 on the first of every month for the next 18 months. Whether he learns anything from this experience is up to him. The community has been solid through all this. Luis Rodriguez stops by for coffee once a week. My former patrol partner, Mike Patterson, brings his wife over for dinner sometimes. They get it. You don't compromise with people who mistake kindness for weakness. And you don't let family treat you worse than you'd accept from strangers, Mrs. Coleman from next door summed it up best when she brought over a casserole last week. "Harold, Linda would be proud. You protected what you two built together." She was right. This house isn't just property. It's a monument to 32 years of service. 2 police careers and a marriage that lasted until death did us part. It represents sacrifice, commitment, and the idea that honest work deserves respect. Nobody gets to take that away, not family, not anyone. I learned something important through all this. Being a good father doesn't mean being a pushover. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do is teach people that actions have consequences. Sometimes you have to choose between being liked and being respected. I chose respect for myself, for Linda's memory, and for the uniform I wore for 32 years. The payments will end in 18 months. The lesson, I hope, will last longer. Listen, if you're going through something similar, here's what I learned. Documentation beats emotion every time. Family doesn't mean you surrender your dignity. And sometimes the people who claim to love you are the ones most willing to take advantage of that love. Don't let them. You spent your life earning what you have, your home, your security, your peace of mind. You don't owe anyone the right to take those things away from you, no matter what they call themselves. Stand your ground, protect what's yours, and don't apologize for demanding the respect you've earned.